This short video is on how to use a graphing calculator to find x-intercepts, y-intercepts, and vertices. Now, if I were at home, I would actually go to www.wolframalpha.com. The only thing you have to note is that there's no button for squared or cubed at Wolfram Alpha. You have to use a caret to indicate you're doing a power. But since we're not allowed to use our computers or calculators on the AP tests, we're going with old technology, which is allowed on the AP test. So the first thing you're going to do is turn your calculator on and press the Y equals button, and you'll find that maybe somebody in my other pre-calculus class or statistics class has used it. It's got two problems right here. Somebody else's old equation is here. Hit clear. Someone else's old graph is up here, and I'm going to hit enter on the toggle switch to turn the plot off. I also am going to hit the zoom 6, zoom, and then 6, and that will set my graph to a standard shape. So, in making a graph on a calculator, and this is review from Algebra 2, you're going to press the Y equals button, type in the equation for, this is the X button, squared is right here above the log, 4x squared minus 9. You have to make sure that you always use the minus button. The one down here is the negative, and if you type negative instead of minus, it'll actually multiply 4x squared times negative 9. And then we hit graph. And if you want to trace to where a point is on the graph, you just hit trace. Like if I wanted to find out what y is when x is 2, I would hit 2, hit enter. Looks like that graph has a point at 2, 7. If I wanted to plot other points in the graph, I could hit the second button and then graph. It'll give me a table of values. If I actually want to find an x-intercept or a 0, I'm going to press the second button and then Calc. And since an x-intercept is also called a 0, I'm going to arrow down to 0 and press enter. The calculator is not smart enough to know where to look, so you have to move the blinky cursor to the left of where the graph crosses the x-axis. Here's the x-axis, it's slightly to the left. I hit enter, I move the blinky to the right, I hit enter twice. The calculator tells me that it's found a 0 between 1.5 and 0. Sorry, it's found a 0 at 1.5. So one x-intercept of this graph is at 1.5. Since you already did this last year at Algebra 2, I'm going to just jump to the next problem. For the next problem, we're going to hit y equals. I'm going to clear out the first one. We're going to type in the new equation, x squared plus 6x minus 10. And I'm going to hit graph. And I have a little bit of a problem. I can't see the bottom of this graph. And so in order to adjust my window, I hit the window button. And I want to go down to here where it says to find the y minimum value. And I'm going to make it go lower to negative 20. Now when I hit graph, I can see the bottom. The bottom of the graph is called a vertex. In this case, the vertex is a minimum. So if I want to find the value of the vertex, I can hit second calc, choose minimum, but I have to go through the blinky cursor goes to the left of the vertex, the blinky cursor goes to the right of the vertex. I hit enter twice. It gives me the vertex is at 3 and negative 19. I know it doesn't say 3, but it'll never find, well, it won't always find exact values for you, so you have to round. If I were to find the x-intercepts for this graph, I would go back to second calc, but I would choose zeros because zeros are intercepts, and I would move the cursor to the left of this point where it crosses the x-axis, hit enter, move it to the right, hit enter twice. This has an x-intercept at 1.358 and 0. I'm not going to do it for the other point, but if you have any questions about graphing calculators, feel free to see me in class. Thank you.